A Happiness Guide 1. Happiness Introduction. Try Thoreau's Walden to see that there is more to life than society's BS. Watch your cat. What does he do to be happy? My cat has a permanent open window. He goes out and runs around when he wants, sleeps, eats, then comes to me looking for love. Get a job, make money, then be entertained to mundanity. Find the joy in your life and follow it is a generic cliché that virtually every guru uses, but very few go beyond it to tell you how to do it day by day. Happiness to bohemian artist types is to try to touch transcendence by releasing their natural inspired energy every day with enough intensity to feel like they're freeing themselves from the normal mundane state of consciousness most of us live in all the time. Even though I live as a bohemian artist, I'm not wealthy. Even though I live to feel the intensity of the human experience flowing through my veins, I'm thinking about money too. We all have existential loneliness regardless of how intimate and close we think we are to other people. Even the closest among us are universes apart. I made peace with God. I said God lives inside of me. I will honor who He created me to be, and that's it. I don't have to feel lonely anymore. Just live by my pact with the great Creator. That's the best anyone can do. What about discovering your true nature, then living by it, by releasing that natural energy inside of you all the time? This is too deep for small-minded materialists who can't see past money and status. Happiness can't be stored. People try to do this everywhere. They amass money. Money by itself will give you financial security but not happiness. Happiness is a feeling you have to earn every day through what you do. People have kids because they think they will be loyal to them and keep them company when they feel lonely, but most kids will go their own way. Nothing is promised beyond today. Try to release your natural loving, inspired, hedonistic, sensual and practical energy with love for the process every day. That will make you feel pretty good, but if you're not rich, you still constantly have to worry about money. There are books about happiness at number 158 and in the 200s, the religious section, at the library. Chapter 1. The world tries to define happiness. The psychobabble approach to happiness. Happiness to me is releasing most of my natural energy every day, either making money from it or able to afford it. That's it. Natural energy is a combination of inspiration, hedonism, sex, love, and romance. I spend most of my time on two inspired pursuits: physical activity, creative intellectual activities. You can find happiness. Write out what you would do every day if you didn't have to worry about money, then live by it the best way you can. I was looking through the forums of a dating website when I saw one about happiness, so I read through what people defined as happiness, and it confirmed what I already knew, that 95% of the people would give a vague, brainwashed, indoctrinated answer like family, money, or career success. Plenty of miserable people come from loving families. Plenty of people with lots of money and lots of people at the top of their career status ladder aren't happy. Not one person in this forum identified happiness as an internal state of being achieved by earning your self-respect and sense of well-being through what you do in honoring who you were born to be by nature day by day. None of them talked about the euphoria of freeing one's spirit by releasing your natural energy. That's why I know the world is screwed and most people are brainwashed clones. All these dinky little one-liners here are nothing next to the individual who makes a conscious attempt to live true to themselves every day. That's the only way to be happy. Be true to who you were born to be with love for the process. Happiness/life satisfaction according to psychobabble. Here are the things people, scientists, psychobablists, and gurus say about how to be happy. Find this stuff at number 158 at the library. Accept yourself unconditionally. Love yourself. Accept your current situation. Be positive. Be elevated. Do things that cause warmth and an elevation in feelings. Be adaptable. Everything is temporary except medical disabilities. Be sociable. Be inspired. Be aware of life as lived right now. Don't just plug into TV or a computer game. Be physically active. Be peace. Be positive. Be thankful you're not blind and deaf. Believe in yourself. Choose to be happier. Smile. Continue to learn. Be open to new ideas. Deal with tough times by putting a silver lining on them. Develop a life routine. Do what you like. Do not harshly criticize family and friends. Do what makes you feel good. Don't be a couch potato dreamer. Don't ignore your money or your health. Don't compare yourself to others or envy because it's about your life and you don't have a clue how they really live. I walked into a multi-millionaire's place. I go into his bathroom and there are about 60 bottles of prescription drugs there. I think he's got AIDS or something. Most guys with money feel like they got no game and can't get it up. They destroyed themselves by working so hard to make money. Don't sweat the small stuff. Don't confuse material things with happiness. Don't argue. It solves nothing. Don't get angry at people. Keep it in. Don't let your happiness hinge on a job or business. Don't be overprotective of your children. Don't get depressed just because you're old. Don't be materialism. Don't do evil things. Don't buy into world conventions. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses. Don't have a job. Have a calling. Eat healthy foods. Eat tasty food you like. Eat healthy foods such as fruits, vegetables, and nuts. Eat fish. It contains omega-3 fatty acids. Don't procrastinate. Enjoy your life. Exercise. Experience life. Express yourself. Share your feelings. Find good friends. Find your passion. Focus on hope. Forgive and forget. Get enough sleep. Get organized. Get a massage. Get help with your problems. Give stuff away. Give a gift or give time to do things with loved ones. Have strong religious beliefs. Have a hobby. Have a purpose in life. Have goals. Have realistic expectations. Help people. Help others, do kind acts. Hug someone. It's not about winning and losing thinking. It's about enjoying the experience. Keep a diary/journal. Laugh and have fun. Learn about money, get my money book. Let your true nature guide you. Let other people think what they want. Let go of guilty feelings. Listen to music every day. Dance to it. Live in the moment. Live modestly and frugally. Love animals. Meditate. Meditation can help you release negative thoughts and become happier. Watch a funny movie. Be grateful. Think about the positive things in life. Reconnect with old friends. Relax enough to sleep soundly. Remember where you came from. See the world like Pollyanna. Set goals and work on them. Set impossible goals and you get depressed. Share time with loved ones. Share your life with others. Simplify your life. Don't do the things you really don't need to do. Cancel your BlackBerry account. Sitting in the sun can improve your mood, not only because it gets your body producing vitamin D, which is the sunshine vitamin, but also because there's something about nature. Solve problems with your loved ones. Spend time with your pet. Spend time with your family. Take life easy. Enjoy yourself. Take action on your dreams. Take a walk, preferably out in nature. Television paints a glittery picture of life that is not real. Tell your loved ones that you love them. Think less about the people and things that bother you. Treat every relationship differently. Turn off the TV. Use a computer. Visualize your future success. Volunteer to help people. When you get into an argument, stop, walk away. You always have a choice to do what's good. Happiness ideas from selfdevelopmentsecrets.com/want-to-be-happy. Look at happiness as something you feel when you're active, when you've accomplished something. Think that you're a strong, active person responsible for your happiness. Forget about bad things that happened and could happen. Live in minutes at a time. Feel like a champion. Talk to people. Reconnect with old friends. Do something inspired and interesting day after day. Do something you love. Discover a new passion. Reinvigorate old hobbies and interests. Do a home improvement project. Go outside for fresh air and sunlight. Take a walk. Wake up and early. Music can soothe the soul. Draw something. Learn something. Take a trip. Write. Meet new people. Volunteer to help animals. There are animal shelters everywhere. Clean your house. Exercise. Help people. Go offline. Think your own thoughts. Be alone to think. Smile. I read the entire article. There were a lot of seeming minor things there. The bottom line is be active. The more you sit on your ass doing nothing, the unhappier you feel. The Buddhist Path to Happiness at daringtolivefully.com/buddhist-path-to-happiness. 8 Steps to Happiness. Skillful understanding. Skillful thinking. Skillful speech. Skillful action. Skillful livelihood. Skillful effort. Skillful mindfulness. Skillful concentration. Bring mindful awareness to daily life. Well-being is a sense of serenity and fulfillment. Control over the outer world is limited and illusory. Control your mind. The best way to train the mind is through meditation. Common sense. Careful observation of reality. Choices we make lead to either happiness or unhappiness. Make good choices because we want to be happy. 10 actions which lead to suffering. Killing. Stealing. Sexual misconduct. Lying. Malicious words. Harsh language. Useless talk. Covetousness. Ill will. Wrong view of the nature of reality. Happiness is being at peace in the present moment. Smile. Approach the day with gentleness and understanding. Breathe deeply. Peace and happiness reside inside of you. Stop getting in the way. Chapter 2. Real happiness away from the world's lies. Happiness is the fountain of youth, feeling young and free like a tiger. Real happiness is a feeling of well-being that you have to recreate all the time. Nobody who sits around can feel good. Love is not enough. I love people and pets, so what? They don't live my life for me. I have to be true to myself. I feel good when I release natural energy. That's it. It makes me feel good and gives me self-respect. I can be a rich guy in a mansion. So what? What do material goods, eating like a glutton, doing drugs, alcohol, or any kind of excess have to do with happiness? Nothing. You can't snort your way to happiness with cocaine. Eating all the cheese and ice cream you want makes you feel like a rotten pig. For me personally, having stupid material things I don't need means I violate God's way, which is take what you need and leave the rest. I don't need a marble splashback or a swimming pool with my initials engraved in the bottom of it. My life has been about trying to feel good, vital, and natural all the time. I can't fight aging, but I feel pretty good for a 61-year-old. If you're rich, you can go to one of those doctors at the American Academy of Anti-Aging Medicine, worldhealth.net, and get testosterone injections, but I've seen the effects of steroids many times over. How do you think Lance Armstrong, the fallen superstar, got testicular cancer? I believe that steroids increase the aging process because they're so hard on the body. Working the body too hard causes oxidative stress, which is why many hardcore extreme athletes die relatively young. I heard that one of the Rockefellers got 8 heart transplants and lived to 101. There must be an easier way to live long and enjoy it as you go along. You lose 1% of testosterone a year starting at 30 years old, which means you constantly lose your natural vitality, and there is nothing you can do but keep moving with your modified limited self as best as you can. Your body falls apart regardless of what you do. I've seen a number of my physically fit, health-conscious, non-smoking, non-alcohol using friends get cancer and die. There is no exact science to living a long, healthy life. A part of it is your genes and a part of it is in what you do and how you think most of the time. People get all kinds of illnesses and their bodies wear out as they age, and there is nothing you can do to stop it when your time comes to get sick or injured. Youthful vitality is about releasing your natural energy all the time with intensity and love for the process. The 5 main energies are: inspired, sexual, loving, hedonistic, minor amusement and entertainment, practical, what you have to do to survive and earn a living. Hopefully you find something you love to do that you can earn a living from. If you can't, the key to life is to still to be who you are in your essence by releasing your natural energy all the time to match an inner standard you should feel within yourself of who you are and must be, by creating your life all the time as opposed to being a brainwashed clone wage slave following the artificial values of the world. A great life is much more spiritual aesthetic than materialistic. You need basic material goods and financial security, but beyond that, feeling good all the time comes from running hard with your life, being who you are naturally. Who does that? Almost no one, but a few wise people do. Everybody has the grace of youth. Young people can look good even if they party and stay up late for nights on end, but one big culprit to the loss of youthful looks, physical vitality, and sexual prowess is the natural loss of testosterone for both men and women as you age, approximately 1% a year starting at 30. There is nothing you can about it except eternal vigilance to constant physical activity, mental stimulation, a healthy diet and the release of sexual energy. These things should be done through the natural beat of your soul/essence and lust for life. Even then, the fat slowly accumulates, the telomeres in the cells shorten as they divide. Everybody ages, gets ugly, wrinkly and usually fat until they start to deteriorate, then die. People lose a hold of themselves, aka self-betrayal, bit by not honoring themselves until they reach a point of entire loss of self. You can these fat, pale-looking nerdy people at Walmart, at the corner store or at a fast food joint. Nobody wants to be a fat nerd, yet many are, because the 2 deadly sins of gluttony and sloth. A constant sense of youth is a spiritual, aesthetic, physical state of mind and way of being. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I can't explain it to you. To me, almost everyone is massively brainwashed by the capitalist pop culture religious system we live under. Most people are mundanely happy as consumer spectators with a tub of ice cream watching a big TV, or addicted to something that can't make you happy like material goods, alcohol, drugs, food, etc. If you want to pursue a great lifestyle and look good, you have to constantly move. You have to love the euphoria of hard physical activity and other inspired activities. They put you in a zone a quantum leap above average people. I'm pretty sure the people pursuing a lust for their lives were born that way. It's an inner drive that supersedes everything else in the few people that sense it within themselves. The soul is an essence. I've divided mine into 22 parts. 1. Know your soul. 2. Know your soul by way of pain. 3. Live your soul in your mind. 4. Take regular inspired action via soulful pursuits. 5. Try to reach the transcendent zone. 6. Youthful spark, sexual vitality and inspiration. 7. Define the perfect feeling for yourself, a state of eternal divine inspiration. 8. Seek to earn your keep by mastering a soulful pursuit. 9. People are a constant meld of intimate connections and solitary lives all in one. 10. Cooperation, friendship, and peace are the maturity of the soul. 11. Share your soul with people, pets and all life. 12. Humor, joy, and an easygoing manner keep the soul light, young, strong and free. 13. Find a worthy soulmate equal to share your soul with. 14. Use God as the divine force in your soul. 15. The pursuit of aesthetic beauty nurtures the soul. 16. Live in peace and moderation. 17. Have a harbor for your soul. 18. Pursue knowledge and wisdom to enhance the horizons of your soul. 19. The body is the temple of the soul. 20. Music is the dance of the soul. 21. Nature is the purity of the soul. 22. Pets are a gift to the soul. I'm a heterosexual male. I was hooked on being vital and macho as long as I can remember. I intuitively knew what female beauty was as young as 4. I remember getting aroused looking at softcore magazines back then. I was born in 1959, so around 1965 when the movie 1 Million Years BC came out, I naturally knew that Raquel Welch was a beautiful woman and that Marianne on Gilligan's Island was too. These women were naturally beautiful, unlike the skinny pale models they try to market at us as beautiful. I also knew what a handsome, strong man was as opposed to some office worker nerd. These are primal archetypes. They'll never go away. I was reading Ovid's book The Art of Love from 2000 years ago. He said the same things about attraction or finding lovers in the marketplace that apply today. Be clean. Groom yourself. Clean your teeth. Wear nice clothes. Smell nice. Speak pleasantly. Almost every woman knows what a beautiful looking woman is. As for men, it doesn't matter how many nerd billionaires they put on the cover of Forbes magazine and try to make them the definition of the modern alpha male, it's never gonna fly because everybody intuitively respects a tough-looking handsome guy with an athletic body. Bill Gates can walk down the strip in Las Vegas and not one chick will turn her head to think that's a fine hunk of male stud. He will never have what some people call game, a primal charisma that women are attracted to. Before he passed, Steve Jobs looked like a cross between a muskrat and a beaver. These guys sacrifice a lot of natural soul in exchange for their business lives. I intuitively valued human vitality at a young age. I wanted to be a cool macho man, but I was creative too. I wanted to enjoy the full splendor of life. There are a lot of guys around like me who'll never breathe a word about what they really feel about the aesthetics of life. There is nothing wrong with loving life wherever it is. Vitality within people is simple to me. You look at someone. They not only have the grace of youth such that they look healthy and wholesome, but they have a fresh energy about them, kind of like a spring in their step. The search for eternal youth is the search for eternal beauty. The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde is about the joke of being alive as a human being. No matter how beautiful, vibrant, and young you are, you will get old, ugly, wrinkled, tired and maybe fat. It's the same as Solomon lamenting on old age in Ecclesiastes. We live in a society where I see infomercials selling creams at crazy prices touting them as anti-aging formulas. All creams are the same. There is no magic formula for youth. They're trying to make people bionic so they can live longer with nanotechnology and prosthetics. The only way to keep the outer look vibrant is to exercise and eat healthy foods, but there are limits to the body. Your body will age. You can keep the beauty in your soul if you don't let the world harden you, but most people end up seeing so much hate and evil that they harden to the simple beauty of life. All I ask of living is that it doesn't change the simple, innocent, curious kid I was, open to life. Western society is hooked on artificially enhancing natural facial and body beauty, which is fair game. It all goes back to the fallen angels in the Book of Enoch. One of them taught the human race about enhancing the facial look with makeup and jewelry. How much is good before it becomes vanity? There is the self-respect of taking care of yourself to be healthy and wholesome, but beyond that, everything is pretense. You are who you are and that's it. Wise people look at someone and see their essence. Makeup, clothes, and jewelry don't change it. Wise people know when someone is going heavy on the fashion and cosmetics. I look at someone and try to see their life imprint on their face, body, and soul. If there's too much external stuff there, I see right through it. It's so obvious. If someone is trying too hard to be beautiful, even if they're aging, it defeats the purpose because true beauty is natural. If you're aging, accept who you are. That's the way you were created to be. The strong dark male gorilla becomes a silverback, is eventually dethroned and walks off, the fallen champion. It happens to everyone. If you're off-center and out of harmony, cosmetics, cosmetic surgery, expensive clothes, or purses won't help you. You either have beauty or you don't. You can't buy it. Cosmetic surgery not only doesn't help. I think it hurts because most facial cosmetic surgery is obvious. Facelifts all look the same. You can tell when someone bought a fake look. Focus on trying to live a happy life. That will do more for your natural beauty than anything. Happiness comes from action, not from possessions. Society has a built-in hierarchy or class system. In North America, we pretend it doesn't exist, but there is a pecking order based on salary, position at work, the type of work you do, the size of your house, the clothes you wear, the neighborhood you live in, the color of your skin, your religion, etc. In India, up until recently, they had no pretenses about a pecking order of importance. They had their caste system. You're either born an elitist or you're born a pauper, and the people were brainwashed to believe there was nothing they could do about it. This was a very easy way for the elitists to control the masses of poor people there. The elitists, people with money and power who control society behind the scenes, sometimes called the shadow government, think they're superior, but in order to control you, they want you to think that you're a part of some united brotherhood of humanity called society, so that when they manipulate the news and propaganda to tell people to jump one way, most will buy this sheeple effect. An enlightened free spirit is truly free. He doesn't play these games. I look at people and rate them, as we all secretly do, by the sense of freedom, originality, vitality, and inspiration I sense within them, not from some other external symbol like a suit, a Rolex, a car, a uniform, a stereotypical look, the generic middle-aged, moderately successful nerd clone look, etc. It's all a big lie. Enlightenment is to accept reality for what it is and never, ever let any delusions cloud the objective truth of any situation. I was brought up to aspire to be ambitious and competitive to the point of beating everybody else to stand on some pedestal as number one in something. Never mind that this alienates people from one another and makes them go against a friendly, cooperative spirit many of us are naturally born with. Watch any reality show on TV. The devious, backstabbing ones trying to claw their way to the top by any means necessary are the ones who get rewarded. People lose their true selves to the brainwash of the world all the time, then 20 years later, they wonder why they still feel so empty inside. I personally think that most people take this route. They sell their souls for some lie of what is defined as capitalist success. I was taught to chase money, materialism, and status out in the community as the keys to happiness, when the truth is that you don't need much money beyond the basics of comfort. For me to elevate my lifestyle materially from the way I'm living now would have to take enough money to enable me to build my own fantasy world. Since that's not likely to happen, I'm perfectly content with a modest lifestyle, because beyond the few gadgets I own, nothing else in the material realm really does anything for me. I've been there, done that with all that material crap, and at the end of the day, it meant nothing to me. After I got over my cultural indoctrination, I realized I didn't want any material things beyond what I need, and now I can fit pretty well everything I own into one room, which is pretty good considering most people have houses and garages full of useless stuff they don't need. My life is lived in my head and in my body. When I got strong enough to question my upbringing and eventually became enlightened and free, I realized that for me, it's about an intense release of inspired, hedonistic, sensual, activist and loving energy every day, all the time. This is what makes me happy. I could care less about material possessions beyond the basics. I got over the idea a long time ago that what people thought of me, good or bad, had any effect on how I felt within myself, except for the few people that I'm in love with and give a special damn about, but even they can't reach me if they try to interfere with my personal standard of how I should live my life. My self-worth comes from within. When someone either gives me a compliment or puts me down, my reaction is the same. It means nothing. Friends, family, and others give me compliments, say they love me and criticize me all the time, which is a regular part of life if you're living with people or around them much, but you shouldn't get too carried away with what they say. After all, your reality is in your head. My worth, value and happiness are inside of me. I may play along and pretend that I'm flattered if I get a compliment, but I'm not like some people I know whose days are made or trashed by comments from others. Happiness comes from action, not from possessions, what you think other people think of you, status, popularity, or the very fact that they're thinking about you, fame. If you don't believe me, look around. Happy, inspired people are always the ones riding their lives like a surfer rides a wave or a dancer dances. It's the joy of the dance to them, not concerned with where they'll end up, meaning how much crap they'll own beyond what they need for basic comfort or what position they'll have out in the community. Sometimes you do the tango, sometimes you boogie, sometimes you cha-cha, sometimes you rock, sometimes you waltz, sometimes you want to do the twist or the limbo, whatever you feel like in the moment, as long as you keep moving, because this is what life is for happy, inspired people, a constant experience of interesting, intense sensations. It's the motion of the journey, the dance itself that matters, not the final destination. The higher normal state of consciousness that free, creative types live in, as opposed to the generic mundanity of the average brainwashed clone, comes from a conscious process of striving to purge out all your natural energy to a reasonably high level all the time, such that by doing this, you detach from normal consciousness to enter a zone where you feel free and transcendent for a while. I can do this every day, and I do by an act of inspired willpower. This is what keeps someone like me loose and free. I'm constantly riding my natural sense of aesthetics, hedonism, and inspiration. Even when I'm not feeling it on the coldest, dreariest day of the year, I'm strong enough to work through it until I expend some energy, then the groove starts coming back for the day. That's what life is to me, a constant ride of the spirit, or more like a dance. Happiness revisited one more time. It's not about those lists of happiness the psychobablists have come up with, where they list 8 factors or so, and if you supposedly have all of them, you score high in happiness. So what? A score on some clinical test can't measure a transcendent feeling of euphoria. I saw them interview a few of these supposed happy people on a CTV show called W5 about happiness. It was a lie. Fat people can't be happy because they are out of harmony with themselves, regardless of what they claim on the outside. They're putting on an act for the world. None of these people looked like they were riding their lives, expending a lot of inspired aesthetic energy, trying to get some kind of euphoric high in the way they experienced them. It was more like a generic, low-level, clinical definition of happiness, kinda like I have a wife and 2 kids, I got a good job, I go to church, I got some friends, I own a truck, I feel like I'm part of the community, I got a purpose in life, and I got no disease. This is like the limp dick theory of life. It doesn't matter what you own, what your status is, or what you do if you can't get it up enough to have incredible orgasms, because except for recreational substances and an intense, inspired release of energy, the sexual orgasm is a quantum leap above everything else in the sensual experience of life. Where's the life orgasm or the pursuit of it? All the psychobabble in the world created so far has not yet addressed the artist's pursuit of his life to stay above generic mundanity by releasing intense energy in order to feel free and high about his life. A psychobabble definition of happiness is not exactly like hitting a grand slam in the glory and experience of life. The enlightened free spirit's approach is to try to touch nirvana by expending yourself mightily in what you love to do, and when you've blown that load of energy on any given day, you have reached transcendence and will be able to ride out a feeling of happiness for the rest of the day, then do it all over again tomorrow. It's a holistic thing, a meld of respecting yourself enough to try to reach your limits or go hard for what you want to do for the feeling and experience itself. This is what gives me feelings of self-respect, happiness and transcendence, and I round it out by experiencing things from the hedonistic, sensual, and intimate parts of life. Try to create the ideal life for you, not the ideal life the system has designed for you. This is the true spirit of the free human soul, the spirit of this book. Some people try to put me down as being too individualistic because I don't fit into any predictable category or can't be controlled and managed by the reward system of the world, money, recognition, status. I've been called an arrogant, self-centered bohemian/hippie/artist/narcissist. I suppose this is how some people see me, but I don't live to meet their standards. I live to find pure, unadulterated truth in my life, then experience it unpolluted by the world around me. Ultimately, all that really matters to people like me is the nobility within to live for the only truth that matters, the truth within our souls, what we intuitively feel without letting the outside world pollute us. If I were to die tonight, I'd feel that my time here so far was fulfilled, that I got out of my system whatever it was I was born with that was natural within me that I had to expunge somehow in order to give me worth. I did it by living my life freely with a bent for exploration throughout my 20s and 30s. Then when I sat down to contemplate it, I finally understood who I was by writing this book, my love book, and those other books I've written. Some of this book may read like a paradox with me contradicting myself several times over. I'm only human, a bundle of contradictions like everybody else, but my message is clear. It takes guts to find your own standard as a human being based on what you feel is the pure essence in your soul, away from everything you've ever been indoctrinated by. But people like me who are strong enough to get over cultural indoctrination and live like this have the satisfaction of knowing that they are doing what they ought to be doing with their lives the way they feel it, while everybody else is questioning themselves on some level because they're following the game of the world rather than following their own true essences as human beings, often without even realizing that this is what they're doing. They think they're free, but they've been so massively indoctrinated that they don't know where they start and the influences of the world end. I see them everywhere. I can often figure out what delusion anyone is following or what they've been brainwashed by simply by talking to them for a few minutes, and most people are brainwashed by something. Check out Eugene Onal's play The Iceman Cometh. Chapter 3. Happiness One-Liners. Happiness Quotes 1. A smile is a curve that sets everything straight. A sure way to lose happiness, I found, is to want it at the expense of everything else. Bette Davis. A good cigar, a good meal, a good cigar, and a good woman or a bad woman, it depends on how much happiness you can handle. George Burns. A table, a chair, a bowl of fruit, and a violin, what else does a man need to be happy? Albert Einstein. A happy life must be to a great extent a quiet life, for it is only in an atmosphere of quiet that true joy dare live. Bertrand Russell. A large income is the best recipe for happiness I ever heard of. Jane Austen. Achievement of your happiness is your purpose in life. Action may not always bring happiness, but there is no happiness without action. Benjamin Disraeli. All who joy would win must share it. Happiness was born a twin. Lord Byron. All happiness or unhappiness solely depends upon the quality of the object to which we are attached by love. Baruch Spinoza. Always leave something to wish for, otherwise you will be miserable from your very happiness. Baltasar Gracian. An effort made for the happiness of others lifts us above ourselves. Lydia M. Child. True happiness is to enjoy the present without anxious dependence upon the future. Seneca. Anything you're good at contributes to happiness. Bertrand Russell. Be happy while you're living, for you're a long time dead. Scottish proverb. Celebrate the happiness that friends are always giving, make every day a holiday and celebrate just living. Amanda Bradley. Condition, circumstance, is not the thing. Bliss is the same in subject or in king. Alexander Pope. Contentment is a pearl of great price, and whoever procures it at the expense of 10,000 desires makes a wise and a happy purchase. John Balguy. Desire nothing, give up all desires and be happy. Swami Sivananda. Do not speak of your happiness to one less fortunate than yourself. Plutarch. Even a happy life cannot be without a measure of darkness, and the word happy would lose its meaning if it were not balanced by sadness. It is far better to take things as they come with patience and equanimity. Carl Gustav Jung. Every gift from a friend is a wish for your happiness. Richard Bach. Everyone chases after happiness, not noticing that happiness is right at their heels. Bertolt Brecht. Everything has its wonders, even darkness and silence, and I learn, whatever state I may be in, therein to be content. Helen Keller. Great efforts from great motives is the best definition of a happy life. William Ellery Channing. Happiness is no vague dream, of that you now feel certain. George Sand. Happiness is a direction, not a place. Sidney J. Harris. Happiness is like a kiss. You must share it to enjoy it. Bernard Meltzer. Happiness is in giving and in serving others. Happiness is like those palaces in fairy tales whose gates are guarded by dragons, we must fight in order to conquer it. Alexander Dumas. Happiness, an agreeable sensation arising from contemplating the misery of another. Ambrose Bierce. Happiness quotes 2. Happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family in another city. George Burns. Happiness is having a scratch for every itch. Ogden Nash. Happiness lies in the joy of achievement and the thrill of creative effort. Franklin D. Roosevelt. Happiness is an inside job. William Arthur Ward. Happiness is not a matter of intensity but of balance, order, rhythm, and harmony. Thomas Merton. Happiness often sneaks in through a door you didn't know you left open. John Barrymore. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Dalai Lama. Be happy with what you have and are, be generous with both and you won't have to hunt for happiness. William E. Gladstone. Most folks are as happy as they make up their minds to be. Abraham Lincoln. I am determined to be cheerful and happy in whatever situation I may find myself. For I have learned that the greater part of our misery or unhappiness is determined not by our circumstance but by our disposition. Martha Washington. Happiness is like jam. You can't spread even a little without getting some on yourself. Happiness exists on earth and it is won through prudent exercise of reason, knowledge of the harmony of the universe and constant practice of generosity. Jose Marti. Happiness in intelligent people is the rarest thing I know. Ernest Hemingway. Happiness is that state of consciousness which proceeds from the achievement of one's values. Ayn Rand. Happiness depends upon ourselves. Aristotle. Happiness is the only good. The time to be happy is now. The place to be happy is here. The way to be happy is to make others so. Robert Greene Ingersoll. Happiness does not lie in happiness, but in the achievement of it. Fyodor Dostoevsky. Happiness is found in doing, not merely possessing. Napoleon Hill. Happiness is brief. It will not stay. God batters at its sails. Euripides. Happiness is mostly a byproduct of doing what makes us feel fulfilled. Benjamin Spock. Happiness is not a goal, it is a byproduct. Eleanor Roosevelt. Happiness isn't something you experience, it's something you remember. Oscar Levant. Happiness is spiritual, born of truth and love. It is unselfish, therefore it cannot exist alone, but requires all mankind to share it. Mary Baker Eddy. Happiness doesn't depend on any external conditions, it is governed by our mental attitude. Dale Carnegie. Happiness is nothing more than good health and a bad memory. Albert Schweitzer. Happiness is that state of consciousness which proceeds from the achievement of one's values. Ayn Rand. Happiness consists not in having much, but in wanting no more than you have. Lydia Maria Child. Happiness comes only when we push our brains and hearts to the farthest reaches of which we are capable. Leo Rawson. Happiness is a virtue, not its reward. Baruch Spinoza. Happiness is ideal, it is the work of the imagination. Marquis de Sade. Happiness is neither without us nor within us. It is in God, both without us and within us. Blaise Pascal. Happiness is a continuation of happenings which are not resisted. Deepak Chopra. Happiness is a man is willing to be what he is. Desideratus Erasmus. Happiness is dependent on self-discipline. Happiness is itself a kind of gratitude. Joseph Wood Crutch. Happiness grows at our own firesides and is not to be picked in strangers' gardens. Douglas William Gerald. Happiness depends more on how life strikes you than on what happens. Andy Rooney. Happiness is when what you think, what you say and what you do are in harmony. Mahatma Gandhi. Be happy for this moment. This moment is your life. Omar Khayyam. Some cause happiness wherever they go, others whenever they go. Oscar Wilde. Happy he who learns to bear what he cannot change. Friedrich Schiller. Happy is the man who has broken the chains which hurt the mind and has given up worrying once and for all. Ovid. Happy is he who still loves something he loved in the nursery, he has not been broken in two by time, he is not two men, but one, and he has saved not only his soul but his life. Gilbert K. Chesterton. If you aren't happy in one place, chances are you won't be happy any place. Ernie Banks. If you want to be happy, be. Leo Tolstoy. If you wait for the perfect moment when all is safe and assured, it may never arrive. If you hope for happiness in the world, hope for it from God and not from the world. David Brainerd. If you're happy, don't act too happy around unhappy people because you're disrespecting them. Show empathy and reserve. If your happiness depends on what somebody else does, you have a problem. If you want others to be happy, practice compassion. If you want to be happy, practice compassion. Dalai Lama. In times of joy, all of us wished we possessed a tail we could wag. W.H. Auden. In order to have great happiness you have to have great pain and unhappiness, otherwise how would you know when you're happy? Leslie Caron. It is not easy to find happiness in ourselves and it is not possible to find it elsewhere. Agnes Repplier. It is not how much we have, but how much we enjoy, that makes happiness. Charles Spurgeon. It is neither wealth nor splendor, but tranquility and occupation which give you happiness. Thomas Jefferson. Happiness quotes 3. It is not God's will merely that we should be happy, but that we should make ourselves happy. Immanuel Kant. It is not great, but little good haps that make up happiness. J. Paul F. Richter. It's enough to indulge and to be selfish, but true happiness is really when you start giving back. Adrian Grenier. Joy is a net of love by which you can catch souls. Mother Teresa. Laughter is the shortest distance between two people. Borga, Victor. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy, they are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Marcel Proust. Love is when you want someone to be happy. Love is trembling happiness. Khalil Gibran. Lovers who love truly do not write down their happiness. Anatole France. Money can't buy happiness, but it can make you awfully comfortable while you're being miserable. Claire Booth Luce. Mountains will not be climbed, races won, or lasting happiness achieved. Maurice Chevalier. Never mind your happiness, do your duty. Peter Drucker. Nobody really cares if you're miserable, so you might as well be happy. Cynthia Nelms. Nothing brings me more happiness than trying to help the most vulnerable people in society. It is a goal and an essential part of my life, a kind of destiny. Whoever is in distress can call on me. I will come running wherever they are. Princess Diana. Nothing prevents happiness like the memory of happiness. André Gide. Now and then it's good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy. Guillaume Apollinaire. Oh, be he king or peasant, he is happiest who in his home finds peace. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. One is happy as a result of one's own efforts, once one knows the necessary ingredients of happiness, simple tastes, a certain degree of courage, self-denial to a point, love of work and above all, a clear conscience. One of the keys to happiness is a bad memory. Rita Mae Brown. Our greatest happiness does not depend on the condition of life in which chance has placed us, but is always the result of a good conscience, good health, occupation, and freedom in all just pursuits. Thomas Jefferson. Our happiness depends on wisdom all the way. Sophocles. Happiness quotes 4. People let their own hang-ups become the obstacles between them and personal happiness. Lucinda Williams. Plenty of people miss their share of happiness, not because they never found it, but because they didn't stop to enjoy it. William Feather. Real happiness is not dependent on external things. William Leon Phelps. Research has shown that the best way to be happy is to make each day happy. Deepak Chopra. That period of time in which our affairs prosper, our friends are true and our happiness is assured. Ambrose Bierce. But what is happiness except the simple harmony between a man and the life he leads? Albert Camus. True happiness is not attained through self-gratification, but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. Helen Keller. The secret of happiness is to admire without desiring. Carl Sandburg. The art of being happy lies in the power of extracting happiness from common things. Henry Ward Beecher. The greatest of follies is to sacrifice health for any other kind of happiness. Arthur Schopenhauer. The secret of happiness is something to do. John Burroughs. The grand essentials to happiness in this life are something to do, something to love and something to hope for. Joseph Addison. The happiness of a man in this life does not consist in the absence but in the mastery of his passions. Alfred Lord Tennyson. The summit of happiness is reached when a person is ready to be what he is. Erasmus. The person born with the talent they are meant to use will find their greatest happiness in using it. Johann Wolfgang von Goethe. The happiness of life is made up of minute fractions, the little, soon forgotten charities of a kiss or smile, a kind look or heartfelt compliment. Samuel Taylor Coleridge. The two enemies of human happiness are pain and boredom. Arthur Schopenhauer. The first recipe for happiness is, avoid too lengthy meditation on the past. André Maurois. Don't wait around for other people to be happy for you. Any happiness you get you've got to make yourself. Alice Walker. The happiness of most people is not ruined by great catastrophes or fatal errors, but by the repetition of slowly destructive little things. Ernest Dimnett. The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts, therefore, guard accordingly, and take care that you entertain no notions unsuitable to virtue and reasonable nature. Marcus Aurelius. The moments of happiness we enjoy take us by surprise. It is not that we seize them, but that they seize us. Ashley Montague. The happiest people are not those getting more, but those giving more. The purpose of our lives is to be happy. The 14th Dalai Lama. The greatest happiness that you can have is knowing that you do not necessarily require happiness. William Saroyan. The world is so full of a number of things, I'm sure we should all be as happy as kings. A Child's Garden of Verses. There is only one happiness in this life, to love and be loved. George Sand. The Constitution only gives people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. Benjamin Franklin. Happiness quotes 5. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. There is something curiously boring about somebody else's happiness. Aldous Huxley. There is only one way to happiness, and that is to cease worrying about things which are beyond the power of our will. Epictetus. To be secure, be humble. To be happy, be content. James Hurdis. To be stupid, selfish, and have good health are 3 requirements for happiness, though if stupidity is lacking, all is lost. Gustave Flaubert. To be without some of the things you want is an indispensable part of happiness. Bertrand Russell. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. Robert Frost. To forget oneself is to be happy. Robert Louis Stevenson. To describe happiness is to diminish it. Stendhal. True happiness consists not in the multitude of friends, but in the worth and choice. Ben Jonson. True happiness comes from the joy of deeds well done, the zest of creating things new. Antoine de Saint-Exupéry. Happiness cannot be owned or consumed. It is a spiritual experience of living every minute fully. Very little is needed to make a happy life, it is all within yourself, in your way of thinking. Marcus Aurelius. We are the biggest obstacles to our own happiness. It is much easier to do battle with society and with others than to fight our own nature. Dennis Prager. We are never so happy, nor so unhappy, as we suppose ourselves to be. François de La Rochefoucauld. What we call the secret of happiness is no more a secret than our willingness to choose life. Leo Buscaglia. When what we are is what we want to be, that's happiness. Malcolm Forbes. Wheresoever you go, go with all your heart. Confucius. You can be happy by releasing your natural energy. You must try to generate happiness within yourself. Your successes and happiness are forgiven you only if you generously consent to share them. Albert Camus. Happiness one-liners. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, or worn. It is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. Dennis Waitley. Happiness, like unhappiness, is a choice. Stephen Covey. Happiness is an attitude. We either make ourselves miserable, or happy and strong. The amount of work is the same. Francesca Rigler. Happiness often sneaks in through a door you didn't know you left open. John Barrymore. Expect a happy outcome for your life. Anhedonia is a psychological condition where people feel good feeling miserable rather than seeking true pleasure. Ask yourself whether you are happy and you cease to be so. John Stuart Mill. Bad things are learning experiences. Be happy for what you have, not sad for what you don't have. Be bold, not scared. Chase excitement and you'll find happiness. Do what matters to you. It is your true nature. Get over cultural brainwash to be who you are. Don't hang around with miserable people. Don't judge others. It wastes your time and makes you seem arrogant. Don't watch the mainstream news. It's all negative stuff marketing materialism at you. Don't dwell on anything. Keep creating your life. Don't put yourself down. Think you're great. Prove it to yourself by doing tough things every day. Don't bother trying to get respect from other people. Who cares about what they might think of you? Earn self-respect. Don't gamble your future on stocks or a pipe dream that could leave you homeless. Exercise. Feeling happy comes partially from sharing ourselves with others and developing a comfortable bond with them. Find happiness in whatever you get. Give the benefit of the doubt to others. Grace for yourself helps keep you calm and everything in proportion so you don't beat yourself up thinking you're a loser when you mess up. Happiness is when what you think, say, and do are in harmony. Happiness doesn't depend primarily on being in a couple. Happiness is created by the person. Happiness is simplicity in living a pure life sincere to your true nature. Happiness is letting go of unhappiness. Happiness is releasing the goodness of light that lives inside of you. Happiness is to bring happiness to others. Happiness is how willing you are to make ordinary life transcendent. Happiness is enjoying life right now, not psychoanalyzing it. Heaven is inside of you. Living it out is happiness. Help others. It is not how much we have but how much we enjoy that makes happiness. It may not be easy to find happiness in ourselves, but we won't find it elsewhere. It never took much to make me happy and it takes even less now. Blind guy who got his sight back. It is more blessed to give than to receive. Acts 20:35. Know your health. Avoid generational competition. Never give up. Share what you know. Discuss your worries, don't dwell on them. Forgive. Eat for nutrition. Laugh. Exercise. Cultivate friendships. Listen to your favorite music. Use a computer. Share. Have spiritual beliefs. Seek meaning. Regrets hold us back. See your goals. Never stop learning. Be optimistic. Listen to music. Listen attentively to loved ones. Longing for something can only make you sad. Living the best right now with what you got is really all you got. Mind your health. Much happiness is lost in the pursuit of it. Ops, the Roman god of abundance, is the forerunner of the word optimism, which means optimism will eventually get you abundance in your life. Pay attention to your life. Don't compare yourself to others. Peace, harmony, simple and few material possessions. Put yourself into someone else's shoes from time to time. Read interesting articles and books. Seek to do your best with what life brings you. Self-denial is one of the biggest causes of unhappiness. Stay active and inspired every day. Take responsibility for your own actions. The only truly happy people are children and the creative minority. Gene Caldwell. The happy man is he who does not lose his child's heart. The secret to happiness is to take a genuine interest in all the details of your daily life. The key to happiness is to give it away. There is no fool who is happy and no wise man who is not. Cicero, Roman statesman. There is no greater calamity than lavish desires. There is no greater guilt than discontentment. And there is no greater disaster than greed. Lao Tzu. Think creatively. True beauty comes from happiness. Happiness comes from being a light within yourself and passing it on. Try something new. See the beauty around you. Have fun. Try to be loving. Turn off bad news. Express yourself. Keep your fears in check. Believe. We forget so many things that seemed so urgent when they were happening. This should put you in the proper perspective. Be here now. We are unlikely to find lasting happiness through people or things outside ourselves. Figure out how to earn self-respect and well-being. What can you do to love yourself? When you realize that what you will be doing next year and the year after that will be the same things you're doing today that keep you inspired and happy, you will know you're you. When you mess up, go to sleep and carry on tomorrow as though nothing happened. When things go wrong, blame yourself, not others. Why are we so ambitious? Is it for money, status, or do we enjoy what we do? Being busy, useful, and productive runs many lives. Taken excessively, this sucks. Where is joy? Worrying about bad future events is a waste. Most won't happen. You can only live happily ever after moment by moment, therefore no one is guaranteed happiness forever unless they're wise enough to create it for themselves all the time. Your doubts will destroy your happiness. You must banish them. The richest man is the one whose pleasures don't cost much. Value each day and you win the game of life. Happiness is generally self-serving, but when you're happy, you're usually a more generous, loving person. Don't worry, be happy. Bobby McFerrin. You are as strong as your weakest point. There should never be a tough decision in your life. It is always about following your true nature. We're as happy as we give ourselves permission to be. Think you're happy and you will be happy.